Welcome. My name is Dr. Harry Cohen, and this is the Be the Sun, Not the Salt podcast. I'm joined by my co-host and super spreader, Connie Fontaine. And this series is, so how do I or we practice be the sun, not the salt? Connie?
Exactly. Well, and we talk about this. These are the calls, letters, emails that we get from our friends and family and other listeners that say, well, can you give me some specifics? And we do that a lot with our guests. And I think we're going to try and do that with this series. And I think this morning, the best place to start is how do I start my day off right?
How do you start your day off right?
I don't always start my day off right. I think that's the whole point of this practice is this is a good reminder. I know how to start my day off right. I know that my day is started off right if A, I've got a plan for the day. B, I start with something positive, grateful. I put something nutritious in my body. And more importantly, when I exercise. And that's the one I've told you a million times. I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at forcing myself to do that in the morning. And, but it does, it starts my day off right.
So I love the honesty in which you shared that. What I do to start my day off right, and I try and keep it really simple, I write a brief email based on the day of the month. I read a chapter of Be the Sun. I've been doing this for almost 2 years on how I want to apply that lesson for myself. Then I write 3 things I'm grateful for, and I write 3 goals for the day. Now, that's what I do every single day.
Total mensch. I mean,
Well
it sounds just like out of a book. We should all be doing that.
well, I don't know about we should all, but I started doing
Yeah.
it, and I do this, and it's really so darn helpful for me. I also drink 16 ounces of water, before I have my coffee, before I have my coffee, I usually write in those 3 goals, I only write 3, I usually write exercise and
Right.
and I don't write the eat healthy throughout my day because I do that,
You just do that. Right.
right? But my breakfast is really a good, healthy breakfast. I could spend 20 minutes talking about how
Mhm.
excited I am about my healthy breakfast.
But to your point though, that's a practice. You become so you don't need to write it down anymore because you just do it.
I do.
You just do it.
And we just
What about so we don't commute, we don't run to the office anymore. We're doing most of what we do from these spaces that we're in right now. What about going into the office? What's a great way to start the day?
well, I mean, when I'm driving, and I do drive a lot, I really shifted what I listen to while I'm driving.
Mhm.
I now listen to either music, a podcast that I wanna be uplifted or learn something from, or, um, or silence. I stopped listening to the news and sports talk radio for entertainment, um, and that's what I do. I also think about
Right.
who I can call while I'm driving that I wanna
Mhm.
reach out to, not necessarily for business, to, like, get something done, but you know
Right.
what? I wanna reach out and have an uplifting conversation. I really do that deliberately.
Well, and I think you've even mentioned that you're starting to re-listen to a lot of our podcasts. As much as we don't like to listen to ourselves, it's a good reminder that we learned a lot. Doesn't mean we're doing everything we learned.
Well, I only just recently, this is embarrassing, started to re-listen to some of our podcasts and found gold in them there hills, and one of actually 2, no, 3 of the different, guests I reached out to after listening to them to thank them for, agreeing to be on our podcast and also, reconnect with them. In fact, next week, I'm
Right.
gonna visit one of those guests.
That's great. I love that, and I think about the days of commuting and going into the office and those that really lit up my day to start out the day right, those that smiled, said good morning, made an effort instead of just going straight to their cube or office and dropping their bag and digging right in.
I do that deliberately. The
Mm.
Starbucks, "Good morning, thank you." I sometimes, not always, but very deliberately look for people to uplift. Here, pay for the person next or behind me.
Mhm.
That's the kind of thing that I'm really on the lookout for, saying something sweet and kind and
Right.
deliberately uplifting, to somebody else.
You told me that you went into the restaurant recently intentionally because you realized that's something you haven't had a chance to do
Well,
lately.
it wasn't I go to the restaurant a lot, but what I
Right,
normally do is I stay up top and talk to servers and bussers and food
right.
runners, but I made a point of going to the kitchen and my chef and sous chef and sushi chef, I made a really deliberate point of saying, "I so appreciate what they have created, and wow, I know this stuff, but it's the greatness of doing it. Thank you, that means so much to me." Now, I know it does, but the fact that all 3 of them, said that, it's because I did it. And
Mhm.
so the tiniest things, I try and do the tiniest things that are easy to do. I also do this, phrase that I say to my wife, Jan, "Is there anything you need for me to do for
Mhm.
you today?" And
Right.
it's almost every single day. And man, oh man, is it helpful for us,
I
for
bet.
her, for me. Keep it simple.
Well, I think everything we've been talking about, I can imagine this in a setting at work. I can imagine it at home. If your morning is Starbucks or your morning is your yoga class, wherever you go, taking that moment to light somebody up lights you up too. No matter what you're going through, you're going to get some impact from that.
And, I know so many people in the automotive space, general managers of dealerships who shared that when they go to work, they go through the shop, say hello to every single
Right.
technician before they hit the front of the store, and say hello to every single person
Right.
before they head to their office. Now, it sounds so simple and so easy. As a dear friend once said, this is so easy, it's easy not to do. So,
That's right.
as you go into any of your workspaces, say good morning. And if you know their name, say their name to every single person. I do a thing where I'm trying to learn every single person's name at the restaurant, and I don't, and I forget.
Right.
And I don't mind saying, Samantha, or
Yeah.
remind me. And it's okay, I forget, but I think people appreciate the fact that I'm trying to remember people's names.
Yeah, there was I'd say an advanced person in terms of being heliotropic that we work with is Kaylin Campbell. And, I watched Kay do something masterful this week and last week actually is when I first noticed it because I got included into a team meeting that she runs. And she concludes the meeting with everybody sharing a little bit of sun and a little bit of salt in their lives. And it has done so much for the camaraderie for you have a chance to share what's really going on with you, and what I've seen in her team is the enjoyment of knowing a little bit more about each other, because sometimes it's a work thing, sometimes it's a personal thing. So there's this vulnerability, this sharing that creates trust and love, and it's created a follow-up because you wanna check back in with each other. "How you doing with that?" Or, "Hey, you mentioned this morning. How's it going now? Are you doing okay?" And then also it's the practice of let's think about all the good that's going on too. So I think there's probably a lot of examples that we'll be able to share through this series of what people are doing well in this practice, and what we struggle with. Because I think what you said is knowing isn't doing.
Mhm.
We can hear all these great guests that you and I have hosted, and we learn all these great gems, and then we forget to put them into practice.
Yeah.
So I think this series will help us remind and be a little bit better version of ourselves as well.
Which is the whole point. Thank you, Connie.
Mhm.
That's why we're doing this. Let's keep doing it. And as a wise sage once told us recently, how? So
That's right.
let's talk
How?
how we do this. And so that we can do it more regularly, automatically. And when we forget, we can turn it around and do it as soon as we remember.
That's right. So for our listeners, how do you start out your day on the right foot? Share it. We'd love to hear about it, and we'd love for you to practice that more along with us. Please share this. Help us create this content by letting us know how you're starting your day out right or any other how do I's that you want us to create. So thanks very much for listening.